Hey everybody, it's Maggie from Personal Euphoria with today's plank story. So for movement, of course, you can always do plank or some deep breaths, or maybe just try to notice, like, are you holding tension and can you relax? And you can even do that. You can tense the muscles and then release. So that's an option too. Some less traditional types of movement. All right, let's get the clock on for today's story. Here we go. All right, so Facebook reminded me that 6 years ago, this past weekend, some friends and I did a fire walk. And that was something I was always kind of interested in, but then a client of mine had told me about it. He had done it, led by this man in Niantic, who was great. So I reached out to the man in Niantic, and he was basically like, yeah, I'll do a fire walk if you can get 15 friends together. And I was like, no problem, because I thought a lot of people wanted to walk on fire. And then it turned out most people don't want to walk on fire, and that was a challenge. But we ended up getting 15 people, and we went down, and he had like all the logs, wooden logs already laid out, and we set them on fire. And while they were burning down to embers, we explored different things to walk on. So we walked over Legos and over, there's like a seed pod that a tree drops. It's really spiky and painful. And over glass. And we stood on this platform of like spikes that was challenging. And honestly, by the end of that, like I was feeling a little cocky. Like I was like, well, fire won't hurt after this. And so the setup was basically like we were all kind of around, and there wasn't an order like you're next. It was like when you felt ready, you went to the edge of the fire walk and you walked, and it was about 20 feet. And I get on the walk, and like 4 feet in, I'm like, oh, this is painful. I feel like I have hot coals stuck to my feet, and I feel like my feet are burnt. This is all like terrible. And I get across, and I'm honestly like a little disappointed because now I'd been nervous for a lot of reasons, like that it might hurt. I was nervous someone else might get hurt, and I arranged it. But now I was like afraid of firewalking, like there was physical pain. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought like that there must be something to this that enable people to do it, and that it doesn't actually hurt that bad, I think is what I had in my mind. And that's how you do it. And so after everybody went, we could take another round, and now I'm really nervous, but I made myself do it again because I didn't want that, like, I didn't want that fear to be my final experience with it. And so I went, and it didn't hurt that bad. And so I went again. And then one time I went and turned right around and did it again without a break in between. So like a 40-foot fire walk. And at the end of that, like, it was starting to hurt again. And so I was thinking, like, are my feet just numb? Can they not feel anything? Do the embers cool off that fast? But other friends who went a second time, they thought it hurt just as much the first and second time. It wasn't like the embers felt cooler to them. And so I don't know what the answer is, because everyone's experience is different. Everyone's nervous system responds differently. I do think something about it was like how calm and steady you could keep. Because if you got like nervous once it started to hurt and you had a harder step, it's not like running in sand. You know, if the sand is hot and you go fast, you get out of it quicker. Well, if you do that, you burn yourself more. And if your footing wasn't steady and you were like rolled out onto one edge of your foot, you were more likely to get a blister or burn yourself. And so I do think there was this like finding this very steady, balanced walk. I'm not sure that that's the answer, but I do feel like there's like a life lesson in there about balance under pressure, under a stressful situation, when you're in pain, finding balance. Anyway, it was a really interesting experience. I had a fun time with my friends, and I don't know, would you do a fire walk? That is a 3-minute, 30-second plank or tense and release exercise. I hope you feel wonderful, and as always, keep moving.